Hello, everybody. Robin here at Toadstool Tarot. Welcome. And I hope you're all getting ready for your holidays or are in the midst of them already. Coming up quick. I want to say hi to Marilyn of Marilyn's Tarot Take, Red Wing, and Saskia Handley. Hello. So, everybody, or a lot of people, are doing, as always, their usual sort of year's end roundup of their top 10 decks of the year. And I thought I would sort of interrupt my tarot clear out with my top 10. Although when I went through and counted, I have to cheat a little bit because I don't think I even bought 10 decks in the whole year. And in terms of ones that I liked and used, we could probably get it down to top 3 or 4. But I'm going to give you 10 anyway. I might have gone back a little bit farther than a year. And there are a couple other decks that I got that aren't included here just because they're not bad decks, but I just don't reach for them, so they haven't been used. So without further ado, we shall begin. Hello, Golden and MA, and did I miss anybody else? So the first deck on my list in position number 10, I don't even know if I should give these positions because they're not exactly chronological, and they're not all within the year, and they're not all favorites. But I guess as I get nearer the end of the list or the top of the list, those are the ones that I use the most, the sort of top several. But anyway, so in the farthest or highest position is Tarot of Hearts. I don't know if you know this one. I don't really like the cover on the box so much. It is a nice, hefty, heavy box. And I don't remember who this is by. Oh, it's US Games. It's got a kind of a large box and a largish, very hefty guidebook. And the thing that I liked the most about it is it's extremely colorful and different. It's got linen stock. Don't like the back of the card design so much, but it has this very interesting kind of Latin American coloration and feel, and sort of carnivalesque sort of celebration of Latin America in a way that I kind of like. So this is, I haven't looked at this in a little while, but it's still sort of on my rotation shelves. It hasn't been filed away to the far, unused deck shelves, So I guess I still included it in. I think it was among decks that I thought, I want to look at these more, use them more. So it's like they're not sort of relegated to unused or never used decks. They're ones that I kind of want to investigate further. But it is number 10 on the list, so it's not really high priority. In fact, some of these may even end up, even though they're in my top 10, they may end up in my tarot clear out. So we'll see what happens with that. The next one, I think last year or over the last year, I've been leaning more in the direction of very colorful decks. I was looking for color. Next one is the Star Maiden Tarot. This is another one in a kind of a hefty box, another one from US Games. Another one with a really hefty guidebook. And another one with linen stock, which is nice. This one has blue gilt, blue metallic edges, sort of a vectorish art. I love colorful, stylized art, and I liked the art in this deck. It's another one that I want to use more, but just kind of haven't gotten to it. I tend to pretty much orbit around, the 3 or 4 most recent decks I purchased. They're the ones I'm most excited about. And if I'm not that excited about them, then they kind of shift to the back burner, so to speak. And this was one, I guess, that kind of got moved out of place by more recent decks that I liked more. But I do like the colors in this deck. I do like the stylized quality of the artwork. Hello, Elspeth. Welcome. Next one on the list. This was an impulse purchase, and it was from Make Playing Cards. And I don't remember exactly the name of it. I think it was like something like Terror Tarot or Tarot Waite Smith or something like that. And it is sort of terrified expressions. It's pretty much, I think it's mostly like redheads, and I think it's an AI deck, obviously, and it was they obviously used Van Gogh as a keyword in terms of some of the images, and probably Edvard Munch too, the Scream. And I just really was kind of tickled by it. I mean, it's a horrifying kind of deck in a way, but it's like so horrifyingly absurd that I just kind of thought, I've never seen a deck quite like it, and I was intrigued and on an impulse. Like if this were in a brick and mortar store and it had been by the counter, it's one I would have grabbed as I was on my way through to the cashier. It's not one that I had on a wish list or a waiting list or wanted, but every once in a while on Make Playing Cards, I just kind of like do some window shopping through the various pages. And when I saw some of these images, I kind of had to laugh to myself. They were so extreme. And you can see where some of the Van Gogh paintings sort of affect the design of the cards. And it was just, kind of a novelty. And I just thought, oh, this is in a very weird way, refreshingly different from my usual stuff. And I felt like I wanted to have it. A lot of the male figures in it look like Van Gogh. So I don't remember the name of that, but I mean, you'll probably find it if you are browsing page by page on Make Playing Cards, which is very hard to do. It's such a poorly organized website. But I think Terror is somewhere in the title of the deck. And actually, it's on my channel in a full review. So if you want the actual information, might be easier to scroll through my old live videos than to go scrolling through the pages that Make Playing Cards. The next one is, I have this in a pouch. I took it out of the box. was one that I saw through Kelly Bear that I loved. It's a majors only deck by Victoria Dorsch. Actually, I do have the box nearby. Just a sec. Tarot de Marseille by, yes, Victoria Dorsch. It was made in France, published in France, and it is one of my all-time favorite Marseille decks. And it is majors only, but I tend to use a lot of majors only. And I just love the bright, colorful quality of the images, and they're on a really. I don't usually gravitate towards sort of matte cardstock, and this is kind of like art paper or something. But I just really, really love the colors and the playfulness of this card, and it very much kind of reminds me of the Kitten Chops decks. And there's also something usually pretty serious about Marseille in a way, and this makes it a little bit more colorful and playful and a little more contemporary, even though the images are traditional. They're traditional in a sort of a playful manner, which I like. And just sort of make the day a little bit brighter and sunnier and happier. So I really like working with this deck. And I think you have to find this deck, you have to go online and search for. Well, actually, this is another one I think I did a walkthrough, so I probably put a link in, but I think you have to Google Victoria Dorsch and order it directly from her website, I believe. I think it's a limited edition. It's been out a few years, and I was surprised that she still had copies because I think she only did like 50 or 500 or something. But anyway, I love that. Next one is the only Oracle deck in the group, and pretty much the only Oracle deck that I use. I don't have that many, and I don't really enjoy them, but I really love this one. It's called Between Worlds and was fairly recently re-released. I think it may have been reissued 2 or 3 times now already. I think it's pretty popular, and yet a lot of people still don't know about it. It doesn't say the name of the creator. I'm not sure. It might in the book inside. It's another hefty 2-part box, and it comes with both a guidebook and a little kind of like fold out quick guide. So you don't need to go through the whole guidebook if you don't need to. Actually, I don't use it at all unless I really get stuck. But this is one where I bought because I like the imagery. It's bird influence or bird inspired images, and I'm not really a bird person, but I got it more because I really liked the labels on the cards. And for me, Oracle decks have to either appeal solely from the images or from the key words or phrases. One or the other have to work for me. It's best if they both work, but that's not usually the case. Hello, L. Phillips, welcome, and Golden, welcome. So these are the backs. It's a matte stock, but it's really smooth and slick and nice. And beautiful color palette that I love. We've got Valley of the Quest, The Architect, Triumph. They were words when I saw them that gave me actually something to think about. Valley of Annihilation, Curiosity, The Messenger, Universal Body. And they're really kind of provocative images, but I just really like the color palette too, the sort of warmish colors, warm blues and greens, and sort of fiery oranges and yellows. Vexation, Liminality. See, liminality is one of those words that I constantly need to keep looking up. Partnership, Guidance. And these are ones that I, as an Oracle deck, these are ones that I can sit and really think about for a while. I don't do like big spreads with them, but I do 3-card spreads. And between the 3 keywords or phrases, I usually manage to work things out. I think when I did a walkthrough, I did a live reading with it, and it turned out pretty well. So that's good if you can instantly do a reading from an Oracle deck. It's usually a pretty successful deck. That's Between Worlds, not to be confused with a deck called Between the Worlds, which is out there. Just checking the comments. No questions, no comments. Next one is the Why Spell Starlight Tarot deck. This comes in 2 versions, and I was kind of stunned by the beauty of it and the price. This was an economical one. I think it was about $17 or something, which is kind of amazing for the quality. It's, again, another hard box, and this one has, gold, sort of gold foil kind of accents on it. It does have a guidebook, which I don't use. I mean, this really is a Rider-Waite-Smith clone. Slick cardstock. It has the metallic edges, which I don't care for, but gold, it's okay. I like the backs. The back design's pretty. And the palette is limited to bright pop colors against night skies. So that's very different in my collection to have this is a very interesting emperor too. To have an emperor with a child on his lap. Very intriguing. So, and some of the images are a little bit kind of modern looking or contemporary in their stance or their clothing or whatever. But I just found this kind of refreshing. I like decks that sort of contrast my collection, to have a little something different in there when I feel like I want a change of perspective, and I have a few decks that are sort of set at night or in the dark, and there's something very different about that than the mostly daylight, bright sunlight, sunlit imagery in a lot of tarot decks. I like the way this limited palette is used because it's mostly just kind of red, orange, and purple or blue. Was it orange and purple or orange and blue, I think, are opposite one another on the spectrum. And the other edition of this is not this colorful. I think it's just like shades of gold or gold and black or gold and white or something. I'm not sure. But it didn't intrigue me as much as this one did. And this was sort of an impulse purchase too. I was online looking for new things and bought something, and I saw this, and it was mostly, I did see a couple of the cards, and I liked the palette and the way that it was handled, but it was mostly the price. If this had been like a $30, $40 deck, it would have been worth it, but I probably wouldn't have bought it. But the fact that it was like budgeted, under 20, I was kind of amazed. And I was pleased when I got it that it didn't disappoint, that it wasn't a cheap deck, that it had quality to the production. We're moving through these fairly quickly. So I have 4 left, down to my top 4, or I should say my most used 4, I guess. These also don't include my regulars that I use all the time, because I have a pretty solid top 2, top 3. I always have a Rider-Waite Smith, in my shoulder bag for the cafe, and 2 other decks, and one of them is my Open Face Tarot, so that's 2, and then the third one is my manuscript of Initiation. Manuscript of Initiation. Those are my 3 top favorites. They're still my top favorites. I will use them every day, all the time, but then they get supplemented by my most recent obsessions. So these are the ones that I've kind of like come to use more often than others. The next one, I guess would be number 4 on the list, is the Whispers of Time Tarot. I'm of mixed feelings about this. It's Lo Scarabeo. It's in one of those kind of boxes. I do like it. It has a very AI feel to me, and I know that's provocative for some people. I don't have so much issues with AI as a lot of people do, but some of them feel like there's more heart in them than others. Others feel more mechanical, and this is really well done academically, but there's something about it that's almost like too cool or too cold or too removed. This is a kind of a new cardstock, I think, that I've been seeing a lot lately. It's a little bit stiff, and it's kind of matte, but it's also fairly slick. It's gilt-edged. And those are the backs, which are very pretty. And we have a lot of moody lighting in this, and I like the coloring of it. I like the sort of like sobering quality of the dramatic images. It's one that I think I got, and I wasn't sure about it, and right on the heels of it, I got something that I liked and used more frequently. So I haven't used it very much, and it's one of those decks where everybody's so beautiful that it's almost, the images are almost too gorgeous or too perfect or too pretty, if you know what I mean, too glamorous or something. But there's still a kind of a moodiness about a lot of it that I do like. So I haven't made up my mind about this one. I think this is one of those ones in my tarot clear out that will remain for at least the next 6 months. And then I will have to reconsider, am I using it, or should I keep it? Should I let it go? It's got some really, really, I love the moody murkiness of the color palette. Everything seems kind of shaded, shadowed, thoughtful. Dark contemplation. dramatic. Nothing cheery about this deck. I don't generally like cheery anyway, but see what contrast this is with the Victoria Dorsch Marseille that's so bright and playful. This one is just really dark and somber. I love this. Actually is a great Seven of Swords. I love the sort of thief in the night rushing off, running with an armload full of swords. Well, we may run short today. I mean, go short today because I'm making such progress here. And I've been running long the last few weeks. And I only have 3 left here. So the next one, all right, these are my top 3 most used in the last few months. And one of them, this one is the Wonderland Tarot. This is a really peculiar little deck. Again, in a 2-part hard box. When I first got it, I didn't like the back design, but sort of got used to it. It's not edged, which is fine by me. And again, it's like stylized sort of vectorish art, I guess. The labels are nice and large and easy to read. I like the stylization and the colorful quality of it, the sort of ornate vision of a lot of the images. It feels very decorative to me, which I love around the holidays. And this to me would be like a good kind of stocking stuffer. I think it also was another one of those really cheap decks. And although I think I had some issues with a couple of the cards didn't really feel to match the archetypes of the labels. But I do like the artwork in it and the design of the images. It's just kind of refreshingly colorful and ornate. And I love, cards like this to think about, when you're decorating your tree or your house, like with the garland and all the ornaments and the lights. And, I kind of like decks like that every once in a while where there's, ornamentation. Now, why it's called Wonderland Tarot, I don't know. I think that's misleading. A lot of people think, oh, it has something to do with the whole Alice in Wonderland theme, but it doesn't. And the front image should tell you that, yeah, no, not that Wonderland. Now, these last 2 decks I have used a lot since I've gotten them. And the last one I've only had a week or 2. But this is one I got off Etsy. This is called the Soul Path Tarot. It's a really hefty, thick deck. And it's one of those ones that's, it was off Etsy, but the vendor was in Turkey. So it took a little while to get the deck to me. And they looked to me like these were like handmade, like hand color printed and hand laminated and trimmed. It has that quality. They're glossy because it has the look of like handmade, hand laminated cards. And I don't usually like extra writing on cards, but I do like this, like, okay, Page of Wands, curiosity sparks youthful fire. So they have little one-liners on them that are not affirmations, really. I guess they could be affirmations, but they're more kind of poetic interpretations of uh, what the card means or reads. And I just love the colorful and antique quality, antique engraving quality of this imagery. It's called the Soul Path Tarot on Etsy. Beautiful. I tend to like sort of decks that look like they were found in an old attic from the last century, like back in the 30s or 20s or even late 1800s. Those kind of decks. I love that look. The older they are, the more kind of mysterious they seem. And, when it deals with tarot, which to me is a mystery in of itself, I think there's something really special about when they feel like secret information or something. Okay, I'm going to pause before the last deck. Oh, that's the back. I don't know if I showed you. The only complaint I might have about this deck is the borders are pretty thick and the cards are kind of sizable. I mean, the deck is. So I think this could have been trimmed down a little bit. And I wouldn't mind if they were tall, narrow cards with a a narrower border, I think. But and I could trim them down myself, but I don't think I want to mess with them because of the way they were laminated and because I had to send to Turkey for them. I don't want to ruin it and have to scramble to find another copy. So I'm going to leave these the way they are, but they are a little bit unwieldy for me to shuffle. My hands are fairly big, but still kind of a problem. And I'm not great at riffle shuffling, and the cardstock is a little bit too heavy for that, and the deck too thick. And now we are down to choice number one. Number one of my top 10, if you want to call it a top 10 of 25. Yeah. But I love this. I've been using this a lot since I got it in the last couple of weeks. It is the Grimm Tales Tarot, which I highly recommend if you guys don't have it. If you have issues with AI, be forewarned, it's AI. AI is getting better and better and better, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. And this is one that I think really works. And for me, it is all about the imagery. Does the imagery work for me or not? I'm not gonna shun a deck because it's AI if it's imagery that works for me. I love the cardstock. They are kind of edged in kind of a charcoal or black, or I'm not even sure what kind of darkish color. It's a dark themed deck with kind of whimsy in a bizarre, melancholy fashion. I showed it recently, and it's very much in the vein of, the Addams Family and Grimm fairy tales inspired. It's not strictly speaking related to Grimm fairy tales, but there are kind of hints at elements from different fairy tales, both Grimm and not Grimm, that come through in this. Wait a minute, we got a note here. Drum roll from MA. Oh, hello, Sandra. I really like the look of that one. MA, I asked Llewellyn about this. They responded kindly that the creator is a real human using a pen name and that some AI was used prior to Llewellyn taking a stance on AI. Their understanding is that the AI was used mainly at the end of the creator's process. Okay. Marilyn loves this deck, just got it recently and loved the mood of it. Also, Llewellyn mentioned the AI use is disclosed in the guidebook. So there you have it. Thank you for those notes. I love the imagery on it. I would say 95% of the cards I love. There are a few that are sort of more along the glamour side that I'm not that into, sort of glamour portraits. But the more curious and odd, I love, like this 10 of Wands man who's this little kind of wizened, kind of crabby looking guy with a little chicken by his side, and it's like overburdened by these wands, almost as if he's carrying his house on his back. Here is the Strength card, which looks more like the Moon card, but okay. This is very Snow White to me, the Six of Swords. And this also reminds me of the Mystical Moments deck a little bit, but that one I didn't gel with. It was kind of like too pretty or too glamorous. This is my all-time favorite Devil card. It's like Baby Krampus. So, I mean, even though this came out early November and felt, I guess a lot of people related it to Halloween deck usage, makes me think of Christmas because it's got a Krampus on it. So sort of perfect in a way for this time of year. And particularly if you love kind of moody, kind of dark decks, here's Cerberus, the three-headed dog. It's got like bat-winged and sort of angel wing, bird wing figures. We've got a witch on a broom here with a hare. Interesting. See, now this is one of the images I'm not fond of. And I think it reminds me of that sort of glamour aesthetic from the Mystical Moments deck. It's just, a bare shoulder sort of sexy portrait in a way. I mean, it does have darkness and moodiness, but it's just kind of, it's very fashionable or fashion photo related in a way that I'm not keen on. I'm not a big unicorn fan, but I love this morphed unicorn that's like part human, part unicorn, and even a very kind of sad looking unicorn. And here's a very Wednesday Addams looking card. Here's another. This is kind of Medusa-esque, but a little of that sort of Jasmine Beckett. What's her name? Jasmine something, whatever her name is. Big-eyed, sad, kind of glamorized. Yeah, I'm not so keen on that. And here, I don't care for this card either on the whale, but some of these remind me of Nicoletta Ciccoli, I've said, and also an artist named Mark Ryden, who both do kind of large-eyed, sad children, and sort of dark themes. I just love the imagery on this, and I have been using this deck a lot. This is a little weird. This is my significator, the Three of Wands, and I don't quite know what to make of it because it looks, in any other deck without the label, you'd say, oh, that's the Death card. So I'm not sure how I think of the Three of Wands as death, except that both of them have to do with transitions moving forward. And for me, the Three of Wands is arriving at a place that you're pausing at the moment, but preparing to move forward into the unknown or into a future of a different nature than the one that you've been through so far. So in that regard, I guess Three of Wands and Death cards could be very similar. There's the Death card. Yeah. Sort of a Venus flytrap kind of thing. Going a little bit wild. Looks very chaotic. Sandra, I hope you're able to get hold of a copy of this. In the States, I think online it goes for like 28 or something, which is a little bit high, but or maybe it was 26. But and I got it at Barnes and Noble. But the quality's really good. I like the card stock. I actually was able to shuffle this, riffle shuffle it, and I never am able to riffle shuffle. So that says something in its favor, I guess. So I really like that. So I'm done a little early. It's not quite quarter of the hour. And so those are my particular top 10s of 2025, although not strictly 10 and not strictly 2025. And in terms of tops, I would say really it's just the top two decks, the one from Turkey and the Grim Tales are the ones for me that are real standouts this year as personal favorites that I am currently using quite a bit. I wanted to mention that I posted a couple of things on my Facebook pages. Every once in a while, some thought comes to mind, and I want to pass these along to you. In fact, I think I'm going to put them in a little banner, if I can remember them. One of them I did, give me just a second to find it. I posted it on my Toadstool Tarot page. Words of wisdom. Oh, okay, this is kind of an easy one. This is for people who aren't sure about tarot. Are you questioning? Are you analytical? If so, not a good typist. Tarot may be just the thing for you. I should have put this at the beginning of the stream for any strangers that come in, because I know a lot of people, oops, wrong banner. A lot of people really think about tarot and have preconceived ideas about what it is or what it isn't. And I think that it's worth considering if you are a questioning person, or if you do analyze things, if you give thought to your ideas. Tarot is a good way to just kind of sit and contemplate things. Okay. So I don't need that anymore. The other one is how did I word it? I think it was, let's see, strive for perfection while rejoicing in the state or a state of imperfection. give that some thought. I believe we should always be trying to do better than we do, but there's no such thing as perfection. We'll never achieve perfection. And the fact that we try, as we're muddling about, there are some things about imperfection that have their own kind of quality, importance, value. Imperfection has value when you're striving for perfection. So, just a couple little things there, little notes for you. Oh, hello, Brienne. Do I have a couple of runners-up decks? Not really. Actually, most of those were runners-up decks. As I said, I don't really have a top 10. Mine was more like a top 2 or 3 with 7 runners-up. So there's what you've got. My runners-up decks, I guess, are the ones that I use all the time anyway, which I mentioned: the Open Face Tarot, the Manuscript of Initiation, and the Rider-Waite-Smith. I tend to prefer, I have a Rider-Waite-Smith version that I love. It was personally created and especially given to me. And the closest it is to the Centennial. So in a mass market version, my favorite one is the Centennial, although I'd prefer it to not have the copyright on it. And I'm not that keen on the backs of the cards, the back design, but I like that it comes in a tin, or you can get a version of it in a tin. But the one that I carry actually in my bag is the Radiant Rider Tarot, which is a clone of Rider-Waite-Smith in bright, joyous colors. And it came with a little white border. This was another one in a tin. And I actually trimmed the borders off, so it's very small, but it's mostly there as a reference. Like if I'm doing readings for someone in the cafe and they don't quite see what I'm saying in my other 2 decks that I use, or in the Grim Tales Tarot, if I'm doing a reading, then I can pull up the Rider-Waite-Smith version of that archetype, and they probably get a clearer picture of the interpretation for that card. Red Wing says, we are a work in progress. We are. So I don't know what everybody else is doing for the holidays. I have been overdoing the snacks and treats like I always do. And my sugar numbers are high. My weight went up. I went to the doctor the other day and I had gained weight, and it was not good. I've been on Ozempic for over a year or more for diabetes. So I shouldn't be even eating sweets at all, but I do. And I had lost quite a bit of weight. I mean, over the year or 2 that I'd been on it, I'd lost 60 pounds, which is kind of amazing. I was thrilled that the lowest I'd been since I was young and recently was 212 pounds, which was good for me from 285. And the other day they weighed me and I was up to 228. Last time it was 218 and now 228. So, I mean, it's like, whoa, I am 18 pounds higher than I want to be, something like that. So yeah, that's a lot. So I need to be much, much better in the next few weeks and months over, trimming back on things. And I can do it. I know I can do it. Actually, what Ozempic has done, I think, is diminished my appetite and trimmed my stomach. So I don't really have room for as much food when I eat, or I don't desire it as much. I have trouble, though, getting away from sweets and putting the sweets aside. And most of my medications seem to like counter that or handle that. But obviously, I've gone a little bit overboard. And the only time I can get eggnog is around this time of the year. And so I bought eggnog. I'm also lactose intolerant, which poo poo, who cares if you suffer a little cramp or a little bout of diarrhea? But it's nice if you don't have to. And I found that Lactaid makes a brand of eggnog, which isn't bad. So I've been drinking Lactaid eggnog. Sounds awful, but Lactaid's not bad. It removes the enzyme, is it, in regular milk products that cause you discomfort or distress. So I can enjoy eggnog. So I'm halfway through my second quart of eggnog this month. And I also love Marshmallow Peeps. And the kind they have this time of year, they have them in snowmen. And gingerbread men I got by accident. They didn't have the other ones I wanted. My favorite is the green Christmas tree ones. But they didn't have those or the snowmen. So as a last resort, I got the gingerbread one. And it's not gingerbread flavor and shouldn't have any flavor. I think the sugar coating on the Marshmallow Peeps just has food coloring in it, I believe. But these had a kind of an unpleasant taste. And I don't know whether there was something flavoring the sugar, but they were not good. So I had, I think, one of those and threw the rest away. But I did get some more of the green Christmas tree Peeps that I love. I also love white chocolate around the holidays. I don't know why. White chocolate makes me think of snow. I don't know. White chocolate makes me think of Christmas. So, I like, a little bit of chocolate. And cookies, cakes. That's the thing. It's like anybody that has problems with sweets and their weight is in terrible territory from Halloween right through Valentine's Day. Or you might want to say through Easter, really. So, there's a few months there. I guess the worst offenders are Halloween and Christmas. There's also Thanksgiving. Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas are all just filled with sweet treats and snacks, cookies and cakes. And then, we get a month off, and then into February, we've got Valentine's Day. That's not as extreme. And then, what is it, a month or two later, there's Easter. But, yeah, it's pretty bad around Christmas holidays. I think there's just, along with all the visual delights and the trees and in shops and storefronts, you also have, pastry shops. And Steve just made homemade peanut brittle and Heath candy. Oh my God, that sounds so wonderful. I love Heath bars. That's like toffee, I think, right? English toffee covered in chocolate. Heath bars, I love them. Peanut brittle sounds really yummy too. I haven't been able to find peanut brittle in a while. Also, I think one of my favorite sort of mass market candy companies is Brach's. And they make, and in my opinion, they make the best jelly beans and the best candy canes. I've tried other brands and they're just not the same. Like Jelly Belly is its own kind of thing, and they're more like fruit flavored. Jelly beans from Brach's have their own kind of flavoring that I particularly like. And the candy canes from Brocs have a really nice texture. Only problem is they come shrink wrapped, and the shrink wrap sometimes is hellish to get off of the candy cane. Sometimes you end up with a mouthful of shrink wrap while you're trying to eat the candy. Another thing I'm missing that I can usually get at my grocery, but they don't seem to have it yet this year, is peppermint stick ice cream, which I love around the holidays, and I haven't seen it this year. So I'm going to keep my eye open for that. And I'm wishing you all a wonderful holiday. And I have a deck ordered. There's another unusual deck that is supposed to arrive today. I was hoping it would arrive early yesterday so I could share it, but it hasn't. But I'll probably do a walkthrough of that next week. Otherwise, I'll get back to the tarot clear out that is a work in progress. So have a great holiday, everybody. Thank you for coming by and joining me. And I will see you next Saturday, hopefully. Bye.